Hey beautiful soul, I'm Joy Giovanni, Joyful Medium, here with your weekly reading for Friday, March 8th through Friday, March 15th. Oh my goodness, let's take a look. So this first card we've got here is this Six of Cups. Now, this is a cautionary card in the way I'm going to read it today. All of the cards in tarot can mean several things depending on what they're with in the spread, depending on what the reader's feeling in that moment. So I want to just throw this caution out there about romanticizing the past, meaning, are you thinking that the way it used to be is better than it was? Sometimes when we look back on memories, on previous experiences, even on people in our lives, we can have this tendency to have rose-colored glasses in the rear view, meaning we're remembering the positive details, but we're leaving out the challenges, right? So when you're reminiscing, when you're thinking about the past, when you're reflecting, make sure you're being really honest with yourself about who you were, who the other people in the scenario were, what actually happened and how you felt. Because this card is just wanting to remind you to just keep a heads up about romanticizing the past, right? And perhaps this means for some of you that someone from your past might reach out, might want to reminisce with you, might reach out with new opportunities, might just reach out to you, and you get to decide what you're going to do with that. Now, maybe it was a friendship, for example, and it was a great friendship and you weren't the best version of yourself. And maybe that's why you guys parted ways in this example. But just wanting to be really honest with yourself when we're looking in hindsight. Sometimes it's 2020, but sometimes we're making some stuff up. So just want to say that. Now, this is great. This is new opportunities coming in from Spirit. And the very next card is another ace, another opportunity from Spirit. So if you notice these Spirit hands coming in from the side, it indicates an opportunity coming in from Spirit. It might be for some of you something that you've already been working towards, asking about, putting your energy towards, putting your manifestation mojo towards. But for some of you, it might be a totally unexpected opportunity. The wands typically has to do with what we're passionate about or our spiritual pursuits. So that can apply in lots of ways. The pentacles often has to do with our earthly possessions, our earthly means, the way that we trade or exchange money, home, all of those things. So for some of you, it might be having an opportunity that means you get to move. That could be a really exciting new opportunity. For some of you, it might be an opportunity coming in for, a new career that maybe isn't what you thought, but is going to give you a big raise or is going to change the way that your finances look in some way. So these new opportunities coming in are kind of boom, boom, one after the other this week. So I'm excited to hear from you guys what shows up. Now, this last card, and then I've got a little extra bonus card as usual. This last card, this Knight of Cups, is a very slow and steady energy. The way to think about this is if you look at this person on this card, they're on this horse. It's the slowest moving knight in the deck. They've got this cup and they don't want to spill it. They don't want to spill the emotions. They don't want to spill this opportunity out of their cup. So one message with this card is don't be alarmed if as these opportunities come in, things are not moving as quickly as you thought. The opportunities might come in really quickly or the shifts might come in really quickly, but then the energy itself, right? That the opportunity as you go to an interview, it might be a couple weeks before you hear back, for example, or if you do an interview on a podcast, it might be several weeks before that's released, but there is energy moving. It's just more this slow and steady energy this week. And like we've been talking about, and like I talked about in that 8 themes for an 8-year podcast, it is going to be very up and down in the energy this year. Very like go, 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 and then very, okay, slow and steady. Go, go, go. It reminds me of like when you run the sprints, you know what I mean? And it's like you go and then you stop and then you go and then you stop. So the energy is probably going to feel like that throughout this year, this one of those weeks, because last week it was quick moving. This week, slow and steady. Don't be alarmed by that. And the other thing I want to tell you is really be processing your emotions. And it kind of bookends with this not romanticizing the past, someone from your past potentially rising up again, either in thought or in reality. Really just processing your emotions and coming from a place when you speak to someone or when you address a situation, even when you're reminiscing, coming from a place of really processing these emotions and not wanting them to just like spill over. I guess in short, don't be messy. But you know what I mean? Really not wanting these emotions to come blasting out, but wanting to move through them in a slow and steady way. Sometimes emotions are challenging, sometimes they feel easy. So even if it feels challenging, resist the urge to have like an urgency to need to rush things. The pace is what it is. You don't need to change it. This final card is the Death card. Now, I know some of you get freaked out by this card. There's nothing to be scared of in this card. Death just has to do with falling away. If you think about the change of seasons, the leaves fall away, the tree goes into a period of respite, of regeneration, and then in the spring, new growth, right? It doesn't mean the tree's dead completely. So this doesn't necessarily mean a physical death. This often is more about a falling away. And maybe with some of these opportunities, something needs to fall away so that you have the time, space, energy, availability to do it. Maybe with whatever's rising from the past, there's a closure available to you that just hasn't been in the past. Maybe it's a version of you that gets to fall away. Maybe there's a way that you used to do it and now there's opportunities for you to shift, for you to change, for you to practice what you are expanding into, everything you've learned. Sometimes we need to release parts of ourselves or a version of ourselves to step into a more evolved version of ourselves, the direction we're wanting to go, right? So just being available to evaluate, what can you let go of? Maybe it's old animosity. Maybe it's tough feelings. Remember, we're talking about processing some emotions with this card as well. So maybe that there's something that you've been hanging on to that actually is holding you back and you don't even realize it, but you've evolved enough or healed enough that you can let go of it. So the falling away is what this card is talking about, and it's going to show up differently for everyone. But don't be afraid to release. Don't be afraid to let something go to make way for something new. It doesn't mean you have to decide right away, especially if this is potentially for some of you, the thinking about a release of a relationship, right? Maybe a relationship you've been in just isn't resonating with who you are now. Maybe you chose it when you were in an unhealed place and now maybe you've done some healing and that relationship just isn't healthy for you anymore. It's okay to make slow, steady shifts. It's okay to understand things in a slow and steady way. Don't be afraid of falling away. It just means that there's something new for you to try, new for you to experience, expansion for you to have, growth for you to have. So let me know how all of this resonates with you this week. If you haven't already signed up for the free Spirit Circle this month, we're going to be doing a group reading this weekend on the 17th. So go to my website, joyfulmedium.com, under the events tab. It's totally free to sign up. Everyone's welcome, but you do have to be signed up to receive the link. We're going to be working for about an hour at that event, me as a medium, bringing through details, messages, communication from loved ones in spirit for the audience. Not everyone who attends will receive a reading, but I'll get to as many as I can. And we'll talk about one message for many in another episode. But even if you're not receiving a reading, although several of you will, the messages that come through can touch your heart in an incredibly powerful way. So big hugs, lots of love. I hope you're well. See you soon.